Coming up, 2 rounds of severe weather hit the region hard.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. 2 rounds of severe storms, both include tornado warnings. It has been a nasty spring-like day with heavy rain, lightning, storm damage, and minor flooding. Is the worst finally behind us? Let's check in with meteorologist Eric Dean on this First Alert Weather Day. Eric.
Yeah, the heaviest part is now behind us. We do have a little bit of rain pushing through, but let's take a look here at some storm reports over the past several hours. This is just south of the North Corbin area. Thunderstorm wind damage along Madison Avenue in Corbin. A large tree was uprooted and fell on a residence and a vehicle. This was reported at around 7:18 p.m. We go south of Pineville. We have some damage reported here. Tree fell on a power line on Road 190. Again, that's just south of the Pineville area. And then we go over towards, let's move the map a little bit. And we'll take a look over towards the Bledsoe area. Again, we have some damage being reported as well. Tornado possible. Leslie County 911 Center reports that many tree limbs and other debris scattered around the intersection of 421 and 2058. This was at 7:43 this evening. Now, here's live pinpoint Doppler radar right now, and you can see that line now pushing through the central part of the WYMT viewing area. The heaviest band is behind us, so there's some good news right there as live pinpoint Doppler radar comes up. And you're noticing, again, there's that line from Pikeville to Hazard to just south of London to Monticello. Now, this is going to continue to push its way out of here. We should be completely in the clear as we go throughout the next couple of hours. But after that, we have a lot of concern with flooding and cleanup. And we'll talk more about the flooding concerns coming up in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. As Eric mentioned, there are reports of some damage left behind by the storms that moved through tonight. Madison Carmouche begins our coverage from Corbin. Madison?
We are here on Madison Street in Corbin, where a very large tree is down. Now, that tree fell on both an apartment and a car. Neighbors told us the woman that lives here is safe and her family got her a hotel. We spoke to Marilyn Wilder, who lives a couple apartments down, and says she experienced a tree falling on her home before. She tells us about how she protected herself as the storm rolled through.
I could hear that train sound, like they say, and I was in the bathroom standing there praying with a pillow over my head. But it was the wind almost blew my door open. It was that strong now, because I was standing in the hallway and I was looking at the TV and looking at the door too, and the door was moving. I thought, oh God, that's a steel door. So it was pretty bad. I mean, really scary.
Other neighbors we talked to told us that the sky was completely clear as the sirens started to ring out, but as soon as they started heading to their safe places in their homes, that's when they heard the commotion outdoors. We will continue to keep you updated as we learn more, but for now, in Corbin, Madison Carmouche, WYMT Mountain News.
Madison, thank you. This evening's storms also impacted some major roadways. All lanes on US 25 South near Cheney Lumber in Laurel County at milepoint 4.3 are closed. This is due to a semi-truck overturning. Highway 15 was closed in Knott County near the Highway 160 caution lights due to rock slides and water over the roadway, but we just learned from police a short time ago that roadway is open again. In Pike County near Foxcroft, a rock fall on US 23 near milepoint 19 and 20. One northbound lane is closed until further notice. We've also heard of mud and rock slides and minor flooding in several other areas tonight, including Leslie, Perry, and Knox counties. Officials say everyone should just use caution and stay home unless you have to travel tonight. Severe weather also ripped through eastern Kentucky early this morning, leaving behind a trail of damage. One Owsley County woman has nothing left now to call home. She says she could hear loud sirens as she felt the wind pushing her home several feet from where it usually sat. She was inside as the roof collapsed, but managed to get out with just a few bruises. Casey Burkhart says she usually would have slept in today, but is thankful that did not happen.
I sleep pretty sound, but thank God I was awake already and, you know, had been awake for a while. I just couldn't sleep this morning for some reason. I guess this is the reason, you know. I couldn't for the life of me, and I was so frustrated about that, you know, not being able to sleep. But I guess this is the reason why.
She says this traumatizing event was over within minutes, but it still managed to take all she has. She's thankful to be alive and that her 2 children were at school when it happened. In Rockcastle County, the National Weather Service confirms a tornado touched down there around 8 o'clock this morning. The line of severe weather was part of damaged roofs of homes and flattened a barn. They believe it could have been the same system that moved through Jackson and Owsley counties this morning. Since the July flood of 2022, weather events like what we've experienced today can cause some mental health concerns. Triggers or flashbacks of sounds are serious in some cases, and one doctor says the most common thing seen at ARH is severe anxiety and PTSD. He reminds those in the community, you are not alone.
You don't have to act strong, because you will be strong if you're seeking help and reaching out. That is the strength in this case.
Dr. Fazal says to reach out to people you trust and members of the community who have been through the same thing. There are resources at ARH such as counseling services. He says the worst thing you could do is not reach out for help. We want to remind you, as the rain is pouring down here in Hazard again, that you can download the WYMT weather app to see live radar at any time. You can also find the latest closings and alerts there. We do have some school closings and delays tomorrow. You can find all that information, whether it be severe storms or winter weather, and just about everything is possible during the next few days. Just scan the QR code there on your screen. It will take you to where you can download the app for free. Another big story today, a major fire in downtown Paintsville left part of the downtown area closed for most of the day. Officials say they received the call just before 10 a.m. saying there was a fire at Castle's Roofing and Gutters on Broadway. Paintsville Fire Chief Edgar Pack says the ceiling of the structure collapsed and stories high flames and smoke could be seen across town. Pack says the department was assisted by many nearby departments helping to keep the community safe.
It is valuable to have all the resources available. We tried to help everybody in our jurisdiction as well as the surrounding jurisdictions, and we all have mutual aid agreements to help one another.
The cause of the fire is still unknown. We've not yet heard if the road was reopened tonight, but officials urge, regardless, for you to use caution when traveling through that area. Governor Andy Beshear answered a question during today's Team Kentucky briefing about a high-profile shooting in London. An officer shot and killed Doug Harless in December while trying to serve a late-night warrant at his home. Governor Beshear called the situation tragic and says it appears to have been preventable or avoidable. However, he said he cannot talk too much about it while Kentucky State Police investigate.
They fall under the Justice Cabinet, which falls under me, so I want to be careful about offering too many comments, because I want to make sure that when the Kentucky State Police makes their findings, that they are viewed with the credibility that they should be.
Following Harless's death, the London community has held several Justice for Doug marches demanding accountability from city officials and justice for Harless's death. Some of President Trump's highest profile executive orders are coming up against legal challenges, including 2 that federal judges blocked today. CBS's Erica Brown has the latest from the White House.
At a national prayer breakfast in Washington, President Trump talked about his renewed efforts to protect American historical monuments.
I have signed an executive order to resume the process of creating a new national park full of statues of the greatest Americans who ever lived.
Since the start of his second term, the president has signed a flurry of executive orders, some sparking controversy and now facing court challenges. On Thursday, a federal judge in Seattle ruled against Trump's order seeking to end birthright citizenship for children born to undocumented parents on U.S. soil.
We currently have a president of the United States who lies to the American people with in perpetuity and has a complete disdain for the United States Constitution.
President Trump's plan to overhaul federal agencies with cuts to the workforce was also put on pause until next week. A U.S. district judge in Boston ruled that federal employees will have until at least Monday afternoon to consider taking a buyout offer from the Trump administration. The president also announced his plan to eliminate what he called anti-Christian bias in the U.S.
My administration is absolutely committed to defending this proud heritage, and I will always protect religious liberty.
Trump said Attorney General Pam Bondi will lead a task force aimed at ending discrimination against Christians in the government. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
The NCAA changed its participation policy for transgender athletes today. It's limiting competition in women's sports to athletes assigned female at birth only. The move came after President Trump signed an executive order aimed at forbidding transgender athletes from girls and women's sports.